What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dropping Wisdom with Santos podcast. And today is episode 86 with a reoccurring guest, Mohawk Mike. But there is no more Mohawk, so it's No Hawk Mike?
Yeah, just one letter change, and No Hawk Mike is what it's been.
All right, this is the first time we're doing video. The lighting ain't good, but I'm working on that. Just trying to figure out the video. But episode 86, tell us what today's podcast is going to be about.
I think we're talking about rodents.
Okay, go ahead and talk about him. You're the professional. He does pest control for a living, and
so I mean, this time of year, everybody always got this stigma like, okay, pests and pest control. What happens in wintertime? They all just disappear. No, that's rodent time. Pests are also rodents. That's when the burrowers, the rats, and the mice want to come inside the most. They're looking for food. They're looking for shelter. Trying to stay out of the cold just like you and me and your pets. Not pests. There is a wide variety. Like there's house mice, deer mice, depending on where you're living at. Around this region, we have Norway rats, which are your wharf rats, your sewer rats, common names for those.
Did they come from Norway?
That I would have to look up a little bit more.
It's through the ships, I'm thinking?
That's what I'm thinking, through import-export.
Yeah.
I would assume that's where they got the name from. But yeah, that's your common street rat, the larger. Now the other rat is your roof rat. Those get commonly mistaken for mice. Large mice. There's a difference. The feet are different. The ears are different. Tail's different. You just got to know what you're looking for. And unfortunately, rodents don't have their ability to control their bowels. So another tell is the size of their poops.
So their shit's different because is their diet different?
Yes, kind of. Rats are more carnivorous. They will eat meat. Mice are more grain, corn, nuts, berries. They can eat meat on occasion, but that's when the food source is scarce.
We have mice. Well, we don't have mice, but my next door neighbor has that garden, and we always see this mouse when I let Sar out in the back. He chases one because mouse is on this fence and he runs
the horizontal plank.
Yeah. And then during the winter time, I want to say November, December, we feed Sar vegetables in his food. And Rupi was like, it's so disgusting. Somebody went through his turds outside and just ate the vegetables because there's poop on the stepping stone. But you could tell something.
It's been broken apart.
Yeah. And I'm like, ugh. I was like, well, let's eat his vegetables, you know what I'm saying? But,
yeah. Scavengers, yeah. Unfortunately, they will do that.
What kind of meat does rat? Do the rats eat mice?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
The very first time I found out that rats were carnivorous was at an account I had, a commercial account. I heard about a couple of rats, found a couple of access points, put some traps down. And then a couple of days later, I come back to check those traps. And they were set off, but there was no body. And I was like, all right, that's different. So I go to pick it up, and I go to reset the trap, and the head is still inside the trap. So this is the first time encountering this situation. So I called my boss and the guy that was training me, and I was like, hey, this is the situation I'm dealing with. They were like, yes, rats can be carnivorous. They will eat each other if they pass by and they're hungry enough. Yes, they will.
That's gangster, though. See,
yeah.
See, people don't like mice or rats. But, I look at things differently. I think, rats and mice and cockroaches, to me, I think they're badass species.
They are a badass species, but they can also carry badass disease.
Yeah. But my thing is they're so hard to kill and they multiply so fast, correct?
And they do multiply very fast, and they also adapt.
Yes.
That's why there are multiple chemicals that we use. Say if I was doing a normal interior-exterior treatment, I'm not going to use the same chemical every single time I come into your house and put down a little bit of chemical. I'm going to use something different. That way, if anything is crawling across it, they don't build up an immunity. I would like to use something different inside and outside.
What's he crying for?
I'll say, is he got a Weezer stuck in his nose?
You know, he's just being a little baby because no one's paying him no mind.
Oh.
A little baby. Okay. Huh. So how do you know? So the rats that die, that you catch dying in the attic, are the different types of rats that you catch that's going through the underneath the house?
Yes, the ones that you catch in the attic, those were your roof rats. Those are the ones that are commonly mistaken for large mice.
Okay.
You can always tell the difference with their ears. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say a rat's ears are smaller and a mouse's ears are bigger. And vice versa with the feet. A mouse's feet are smaller and a rat's feet are bigger.
Okay. So how do you deter? What's the main? How do I know I have rats? First off, if you could I hear them walking in the attic or in the walls?
You'll hear them at nighttime. If you hear them or see them during the daytime, then that's when it has gotten to a number where there's just so many. They're constantly moving.
Yeah, because they usually do things at night or
yes,
dark, right?
Yeah, they're nocturnal. Most of the time, like when we get calls about hearing some activity in the attic during the daytime, I'm like, oh, daytime, you got a squirrel in your attic.
Okay.
So there's they live outside. They are coming in somehow. Rodents are rodents. They will get in to try to stay warm, find food, find water. Squirrels during the daytime, that's what you hear in your attic if you have an access point. Most of the time, you hear them at night.
So what can a homeowner do to deter the rats and mice before they call you?
Number one, I would make sure I would seal up any type of hole on the exterior and possibly interior. Say if you have a crawl space, I would have an expert or somebody licensed do a crawl space inspection. Make sure there's no access points for your vents, any kind of HVAC, anything like that. Make sure all
because they can get through a hole of, you said, a quarter.
A mouse can get through a quarter of an inch, and a rat can get through a half inch. If they can get their skull through, they can get their whole body through.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And also, rodents' teeth never stop growing. Just like our fingernails and our hair, we have to constantly cut them. They have to constantly grind them down.
What about, do they have claws?
They do, but they don't really do much with them.
Did their claws grow too?
No, not like their teeth do.
Okay.
Their claws are more for like gripping food and stuff like that. Getting through, crawling and climbing, stuff like that.
So, talk about how to deter houses from doing that. Because I know some houses are fucked if they have trees that are overhanging.
Yes, overhanging limbs and trees and anything touching the house, I would definitely try to take care of immediately. I've had an account's neighbor's house say that they've had a rat issue because the tree in the neighbor's yard is overhanging their property and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, there have to be some type of lawsuit with that.
Yeah, it can be very difficult sometimes in certain situations, but I mean, honestly, just talk to your neighbor. Get to know them. Work it out. Work together to alleviate the pest situation. But yeah, the vegetation around the house, making sure everything's nice and clean, no huge mounds of dead leaves or anything around the house in the corners. That does happen from time to time. But yeah, just keeping dog food, pet feces in the backyard. Just try to keep everything clean.
Poop scoop.
Yeah, poop scoop's the best.
Okay. What else, man? Because I thought there was a lot of you told me this one picture. You caught one they were within behind the kitchen sink or something.
Oh yeah. A lot of entry points. When when people have mice, most of the time they see them in the kitchen or the living room.
That's where food and water's at.
Which is very adjacent to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing. Say the plumbing underneath your sink. Sometimes the plumbing up against the wall has that little faceplate cover. Sometimes it doesn't. Well, a half inch or a quarter inch is enough access point for a rodent. So make sure you have those caulked. I would put some copper mesh behind there to make sure they can't chew through, and make sure that steel faceplate is on there. Like, normally what we try to do is put, like, if you have a rodent issue, what we would try to do is bait on the outside and trap on the inside. Oh, he's got his toy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
but having rats, does that mean, or rats and mice, does that mean that you won't have other infestations? Like you won't have problems with spiders? Because do rats and mice eat spiders and cockroaches?
No, not really.
Ants or anything?
No, not really. It just depends on what kind of food source you have around the house. What kind of food they are looking for. Like when you have bigger items, say you have a dog, sometimes people miss dog's food behind the bowl and stuff like that. Mice and rats can get attracted to that.
So inside the house, what can someone do for deterrent inside the house then? I mean, like, because like they always have water out for the dog.
I would just go around, look at all your outlets, make sure all your face plates are covered, there's no hole or gap on the side, no gaps on your baseboards, your quarter rounds, underneath your quarter rounds of your cabinets, inside your cabinets, all their plumbing comes in. Your sink in the bathroom, sink in the kitchen.
Jesus.
Yeah. There's a lot of access points. I mean, they don't have to pay bills, so they got nothing to do but live.
Yeah, and outside, because like I'm not a fan of vegetation outside. Have all fake.
I've noticed that. That's why I like.
Fake
your
plants and gnomes.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
I like the rocks around.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So that was one because I when I was in Gitmo. For other civilians, that's Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. When I was visiting there a few times, you run into banana rats. And those rats...
See, I don't know anything about those.
Yeah, those rats are just as big, if not bigger, than the regular cat. Right? And they're all...
That's a marsupial.
But they're huge. And you all see them sleeping and hanging out with each other in trees. And you walk by them, there's a shitload of them. And it's... And I don't know. They seemed always cool. They never really did anything. They're used to people because they weren't scared of the humans because they were always walking by and you just make eye contact with them and they're like, this is my house. Yeah. And so we walk by there and then that place is full of iguanas. And then at nighttime, I guess the crabs come out. So when you're driving, you run over a lot of crabs because they come out. But there's banana rats. Those banana rats are huge. But are these the kind of rats and mice that are in this area? But do you know what about city? Are they bigger? What can they do?
The city is also going to be the Norway rat. That's your sewer rat, your street rat, your common, your brown, normal, dirty ground dweller rat. That's the big ones that you see with a really long tail. They have kind of like a blunt nose. They're just the heftier ones. Those can be up to a pound.
Okay, now let's say I did all I could and these fuckers aren't getting out of my house. You know what? I'm calling Mike up. What do you do? What is your nuclear weapon?
What I would do, alright, I would come in, do an inspection, and like I said, they don't have the ability to control their bowels, so they just go as they go. So what I would look for is a high concentrate of where the poops are. Then, right after that, I would look for nesting material. Any kind of shredded paper, leaves, any kind of just random stuff like insulation maybe from the wall. And then from there, what I would do is lay a bunch of traps down, honestly.
In the attic? Or all over the house too, behind the refrigerator, or wherever that nest is, basically.
Depending on where I find the high concentrate of poops and nesting material. If say behind this cabinetry, I see a nest and a bunch of poops on one side. Behind this area is where I would want to target.
What did you put on the fence? Because you said you were going to come back and see it.
Yeah, I put some blacklight neon gel, and I don't have a blacklight. So the gel I put down, I can't track.
Okay, but you're supposed to have a black light to track where that mouse is going because that's where the mouse's nest is or whatever?
Yeah, you told me that you seen them running across the fence, so I put a bunch of neon gel down for me to be able to track with a black light, but my black light don't work and I'm waiting on a new one.
Okay.
So
yeah, but
yeah.
I'm just saying because that's another
That's
part
how
of
we
it.
track the footprints. Like, say I put a little bit of gel right here, and you've seen some poops on the table, and I put a little bit of gel right here, and all of a sudden, when I come back with a black light, I see tracks.
Yeah.
So I can follow them.
Okay. Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you just basically poison them, and then they just die, and then you gotta, and then
Yeah, if I were doing a bait treatment on the outside, it'd be a containerized box with like a paver on the inside. That way it'd be tamper-proof. Little kid can't pick it up. Your dog can't mess with it. And it takes a special key to get in, and it's really thick plastic. It's really hard to tamper with. I would put bait in that box on the outside and then monitor. I'd come back like a week later, maybe 2 weeks, to monitor how much bait has been eaten. But once they eat that bait, it starts to dehydrate them. So they immediately try to go to their water source, which also activates the poison. So the poison dehydrates them, makes them go to their water source. The water source activates the poison, causes internal bleeding, and they die by their water source.
What if it's like inside the house? Will the owner have to go and like pick up the carcasses?
That's why we try not to bait on the inside, because on the inside they can go in the wall, they can go up in the attic, and if they're in the insulation, you can smell it, but it's gonna be very difficult to find.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why like when we do inspections, we don't do inspections just for pest or rodent activity. If I do a crawl space inspection, I'm looking for leaks, I'm looking for moisture, I'm looking for standing water, anything that can be potentially a pest issue. If you have a puddle, say you had a crawl space, and there was a puddle underneath your water heater in your laundry room. Alright, now then, yes, rats eating the poison outside can go to that water source and die in the crawl space. But also that puddle can cause issues structurally. So that's why we try to do a very thorough inspection.
Does that, so when do you usually get calls for that? Is it seasonal? Or it's like, are they heavy? Is it more often in the summer or more often in the winter?
It is honestly year round, an issue in different regions. But in the wintertime, we see more of those calls just because of, we have less ant issues, less spider issues, less roach issues. Those things still do happen during the wintertime, but there are just more calls on rodents because they don't really dwell or hibernate like insects do. And they're trying to get inside more because it's colder.
Yes, warmer inside.
Yeah.
Except in this house.
It's a slab in the hardwood floor. That's why.
Yeah. Is there anything else you can talk about with this? Because I know we talked about spiders. And then today we're talking about mice.
Yep.
And like the next one's going to be ants and cockroaches.
I was saying, did we do ants already?
I don't think we did ants.
I think ants and cockroaches should be two different ones.
So those are two major big
ants. There are so many different species of ants, man.
Okay,
it's crazy. This region has.
They from Norway too.
Egypt.
Yeah.
There's a pharaoh.
Egyptian ants.
There's a pharaoh ant.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
A pharaoh ant,
Yes.
motherfucker. That's crazy.
Those are the tough ones. I haven't encountered those yet. We haven't done stinging insects yet either.
What is it?
Stinging insects. We haven't done that one.
Okay, well that's another one then. Fuck.
I ran across some European hornets earlier last summer.
Jesus.
They're like,
did you get stung?
Not yet. Thank God.
No
Knock
shit.
on wood.
Is it bad? Like worse than like a wasp or a hornet?
No, yellow jackets I heard are still the worst. The ground assholes is what we call them. But the European hornets I first encountered early last summer, and they're about 1.5 inches long.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's big for that, man. Jesus.
I didn't know they were over here until I found out the hard way.
Yeah.
Luckily, I found them all dead and just treated where they were coming out of.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know why they died?
This house was getting a bunch of roofing done, and unfortunately, one of the guys doing a peek in the roofing came across them. Unfortunately, he got stung a bunch of times, But
what a loser.
I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
No shit. Better him than me, right?
Yeah, they one of his guys went up there and sprayed a ton of stuff, and then I went back.
Probably pissed them off.
Yeah, but it also messed up their entry point. Because when I went there, couldn't find much. I dusted where I could. I even went up in the attic, and I found 2 dead bodies next to the attic entry, but I couldn't find any kind of nesting. So wherever
insect bodies.
Yeah, the European hornets.
Okay,
yeah.
be specific.
Sorry, I didn't think about that. When I'm talking about bodies, I'm talking about insects.
Okay, just want to make sure his insects didn't kill a couple of human bodies.
No, there was a couple of European hornet bodies by the entrance. But, I mean, I did a thorough attic inspection, and I couldn't find anything. So, apparently, they were behind the rafter where that roofer was working. And he had sprayed them with whatever he sprayed them with. But, yeah, I saw them on the ground. They were huge. They were like that
You took
big.
a few pictures of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll send you some.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else we can talk about on this one? Did you pretty much cover everything?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, basically, I hope everyone listening doesn't have mice or rats. And if you do, I guess now you know how to get rid of them.
Call me.
Or call him, and he'll take care of your rat and mice infestation. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
They're not helping pay the bills, so they got to go.
Yeah, and like me, I don't have mice or rats, but like we do have mice that crawl on our fence because you got to remember, you might be innocent, but if a neighbor has a garden, has a tree that overhangs on your side of the house, on your side of the property, you could have rats in your attic because of that tree, not because of anything bad that you're doing on your property.
Not only vegetation, you never know the sanitary conditions of your neighbor's house.
Yeah.
That could also be another thing.
Fucking dirt bags.
Never know.
Never know. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming, man.
Absolutely.
You'll definitely be on again. Talk about ants next time.
Do ants
right?
next time.
Ants?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.